Married at First Sight, Season 15, a Reunion Part 1. I have to say, this reunion gave us some good information and some memorable moments. This was 2 hours of questions upon questions being asked by Kevin Frazier. Like, I know some people don't like him, but I like his style. Now, normally when they show us spicy previews of the reunion, they tease us by waiting until the last 5 minutes of part 2 to show the juicy scene. But not this time. They actually open with the Nate and Weeping Willow fight. So let's get into these highlights. I have to give it up to producers because they get these people to spill the tea about each other, which allows them to set up Kevin with some good questions that led to this strange fight between Nate and Weeping Willow. At the top of the show, Kevin asked the group if anyone is not on good terms. No one wanted to answer the question, and Weeping Willow was like grinning, but said he's always smiling. But we could tell he was holding something back, like they all were. Then Kevin said, okay, well, let me ask it like this. Has anyone blocked anyone else from social media? Yeah, that question wasn't an accident. Producers already knew the answer to that question. So Nate said, absolutely. Weeping Willow has unfollowed a good amount of people. So Weeping Willow said he unfollowed everybody, but he doesn't want to get into why. So Nate pushed for an answer, and then Weeping Willow accused Nate of being fake, but the example he gave of his fakeness was pretty weak. He said that he and Nate made a pact to have each other's back, but later Nate said that he don't get into people's business. But then when we were at Ben's place, you were all up in his business. So I was like, oh, okay, so you pick and choose. You act one way with some people and act another way with other people. You fake, it's okay. First of all, that was a weak example. And second, I suspect when Nate told you that he didn't want to be in people's business, he was talking about your business. Because based on things he said during the season, I don't get the impression that he liked you and Alexis very much. So Nate said that he's nobody's therapist and his main focus was his wife. So for you to get upset because I wasn't paying attention to you is weird. It's weird and you're a crybaby. I didn't pay attention to you. You got upset. That's what happened, point blank. What's weird is this penis sword fight you two were having. And speaking of penises, then Weeping Willow accused Nate of making a pass at him twice. No guy compliments another guy 2 days in a row. So, as the story goes, during the casting phase, Nate told him that he had nice skin and nice teeth and was like, man, you look so good. Why are you here? I am so glad Kevin explained to Weeping Willow that a man complimenting another man doesn't mean he wants to have sex with him any more than a man complimenting a woman means he wants to have sex with her. Okay, maybe he lost me a little bit on the last part, because when a man compliments me, my ego whispers in my ear that he wants to hit it. No, I'm just kidding. Kevin was right. So anyway, Nate's responses to Weeping Willow's accusations were, I'm confident and comfortable with my sexuality. And what pass? I don't even talk to you. Yeah, he won't be winning any Best Comeback Awards anytime soon. Nate is interesting in that when he's on confessional cam or simply like calling someone out, he's like direct, strong, and clear in his message. But when there's a back and forth, it's like his level of anger doesn't match the words coming out of his mouth. For instance, like if he was at a bar and a guy stepped on his foot, Nate would say something like, hey, watch where you going. You just stepped on my new Monona Blahniks, man. And the other guy would say, oh yeah, what are you gonna do about it, butterface? And Nate would say, well, your hair is curly. Now what? Like, what? Yeah, I don't know what you call that, but that's how I see this so-called fight that they're having. So eventually Weeping Willow stood up to try to fight Nate, and Kevin stepped in and was trying to calm Nate down, and Alexis and Weeping Willow went backstage and had a little chat. Alexis calmed him down by telling him, you never have to see Nate again and focus on me. She was like, hello, do you see all this boobage action I got going on over here that you're screaming over? Focus on these, honey. Focus on these and all your troubles will be over. So they went back to join the others. But in the meantime, while they were talking, Krysten said that he did follow everyone. Then he unfollowed us. And then he followed everyone. And then he unfollowed us again. And it doesn't make sense. So towards the end of the season, Weeping Willow talked about how he gets in his head. I suspect that's what he's doing with the cast, with this following and unfollowing madness. Like he gets in his head about something, like creates an entire negative narrative, then unfollows everybody based on his false story. And later, when he gets out of his feelings, he refollows everybody. So Kevin asked him to give a reason why he unfollowed each person. So he unfollowed Krysten because she's a certain type of way around Alexis, but different around everybody else. Lindy and Caddy, he was supposed to go hiking with them, but instead of them telling him that they didn't feel comfortable with him going, they just went without him. I have to admit that was cold, but also hilarious. Plus, two of the toughest women on the show, Mrs. Muay Thai and Mrs. Outburst, scared to tell the least toughest guy on the show that they didn't want him to go with them. I'm scared. So he said he unfollowed Stacia because she's Nate's husband and he didn't like Nate. Okay, I get that one. It's kind of a respect thing. Overall, for me, I felt like I was watching someone desperately trying to do damage control. At the time this reunion was taped, a month or more episodes of the season had aired, and Weeping Willow probably got clowned for coming off as weak or feminine or something. Therefore, when he rolled up to this reunion, he chose chaos and was locked and loaded. And the ammunition he packed was his definition of masculine energy. He was just shooting it everywhere, trying to come across as hard, a fighter, and even a lover, which we'll talk about later. But this demeanor of his felt forced and intentional to me. During their segment, they revealed that they're still together and in love, that they are living together, and she moved into his place and is adding her little personal touches here and there. And they claim that their relationship is easy. Okay. So Lindy said that she enjoys playing Dungeons and Dragons with Miguel about once a week. And I thought it was sweet that she embraces the game that he loves to play. So when Kevin asked Miguel about Lindy's negativity and being easily distracted and cutting him off, it felt like Miguel was giving a canned answer that they crafted together like before the show. He said, "I'm doing a better job of not taking it so personally and accepting her for who she is, and it's all part of the package. If I'm going to love her, I have to embrace all parts of her." No, you don't. We are always a work in progress, always room for improvement. You can learn to tolerate the things you don't like about a person, but there is no advantage to being a wife who constantly cuts her husband off when he's trying to speak. Well, except for when he's spitting one of his nerd hip-hop poems. In that scenario, do what you must. Kevin asked Lindy if she's had that really bad moment, like an outburst. She said, "I think so. He's seen it because I can be very visceral and you can feel that energy from like a mile away. So yeah, he's seen it because we've had some throwdowns." Like, I don't understand why she wears her temperament like a badge of honor. Like, never have I ever seen a dating profile where a person was looking for a mate who enjoyed long walks on the beach, jazz concerts, and frequent visceral outbursts. She did say she's working on herself, but it didn't sound like her outburst in particular. It was more of like a broad sense, like outside of her marriage, but the changes positively affect the marriage. But we didn't get to hear any examples of what she was talking about. So finally, she said one day she showed Miguel her social security card to surprise him that she hyphenated her last name. She felt that it was a beautiful compromise and that they both got what they wanted. Yeah, except hyphenated names can be a pain in the butt. Some companies ignore the hyphen and combine it into one long name. Others will file you under your maiden name and others will file you under your married name. Why isn't there a nationwide industry standard for hyphenated last names? I mean, I don't have one, but I'm just saying. Stacia and Nate revealed that they're still together. Kevin asked, are you guys living together? Have you moved in? Nate said yes, and Stacia shook her head no. So Nate still has his apartment, and their compromise was to live a few weeks in one place and a few weeks at the other until his lease ends in 8 months. So Kevin said, wait a minute, y'all gonna go back and forth for 8 months? And Nate says, I think it's healthy for us because we kind of make our own rules, because instead of moving in right away. And Kevin interrupted, what are you talking about? So Nate claims moving in together is out of his comfort zone because he lives downtown and she lives in the suburbs. No, Nate is out of his comfort zone because he lives downtown and Stacia lives in a white, ultra clean museum where you can't touch anything and she's in control. I don't believe Nate was fully honest in his answer, but I mean, I get it though. It's difficult to give up your place and move in with someone that you are not sure about, like still getting to know. And based on Stacia's yes on decision day, she definitely wasn't sure about him either. So Kevin asked Stacia, are you getting better at relinquishing control? Nate said, hell no. I'll be cooking dinner and cutting up the onions, and she'll say, no, you're not doing it right, then take over. So he's frustrated because she tells him to step up, but when he tries to, she'll come in and take over because in her eyes, he's not doing it right. So she said, the struggle is real because I'll take over and finish it, but then get mad and say, why don't you do more around the house? Stacia, you are a handful. You said yourself that you are OCD, so either you need to be okay with always doing things around the house so they satisfy your OCD-ness, or you need to go back to therapy to learn that there's more than one way to do things and there are bigger battles to fight in your marriage than how to dice an onion. Then Kevin asked Nate, have you broken down and finally told Stacia those 3 words she wants to hear? He said, absolutely. I say it every day. My heart is opening up every day. Stacia said she knew it already and felt it because his walls were starting to come down. I could tell that he could feel the warm, fuzzy feeling inside. He said he was falling in love with me on the honeymoon. Then they showed that clip from the honeymoon where he said he was falling in love. And when they came out of the clip, Nate said, no, that's just excitement. And Stacia and Kevin were like, wow. And Stacia said, I'm trying to give him a chance. And Nate was like, I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. Kevin said, dude, she literally threw up a softball to you. And you're like, hell no. I mean, my God. Nate said, I can't be in love with somebody in 2 weeks. And Kevin said, dude, y'all just took 3 steps back. And Stacia said, no one said you were in love. You just said in that clip that you were falling in love with me. Yeah, I was falling in love with you, not in love with you. That's what I said. You were falling in love. Right. Yeah, we're on the same page. We talk about not being a good listener. If this is how they normally communicate, I kind of see your point. So later they showed a never before seen clip of Nate and Stacia putting together a DIY project for a selfie wall. Kevin asked Stacia if Nate continues to do things like that for her, and she hesitantly said, yeah, he does. You buy me flowers and cards and do little things for me. Nate said, see, this is the thing. There's always a but. I took you jet skiing and axe throwing too. I just said he does things for me. So Nate said she appreciates me, but she just don't give me credit. So Stacia feels she gives him credit, but not in the way he wants. Okay, Stacia, how difficult is it to give him credit in the way he wants? Like what good does it serve your marriage to give him credit in a way that's going to cause conflict? Ooh, I swear you are stubborn. She basically broke it down like he's coming up with activities he wants to do, not her, but she compromises and does them with a smile and has fun, but more so because she enjoys spending time with him. So in other words, Nate is not picking up on things that she enjoys and planning accordingly. So that's not hard. That's something they can work on together. But I wonder if she does some nice things for him and plans things as well. So Nate is telling Stacia, when he asks, does he do things for you? Just say, yes, he does. And that's it. Like, no but. Stacia says, I'm coming at it like this. Does he cook for you? Yes, he cooks 1 day a week, but we have to eat 7 days. So that's where I'm coming from. Nate says this has been the theme for our relationship because she's a moving target, so I can never hit it. There's always something missing. So this man is feeling like he can never satisfy his wife. He's going to bounce if that doesn't change. Now, I'm not saying either are wrong because they want what they want, but they just don't seem to be right for each other. But then Kevin asked Stacia, "Do you feel satisfied by your husband?" Ooh, she paused for what felt like 20 minutes. Like if that pause wasn't a red flag being thrown at Nate's forehead, I don't know what is. So finally she answered, I do feel satisfied in moments, but I want consistency. I like to have deep conversations, know where he's going, who he's going with. Like he said, I'm a moving target. I have to do better with seeing what he's trying to do and verbalize it when I see it. Okay, not having deep conversations? That sounds like a dig to me. Throughout the season, she said that he's not on her level emotionally and he has a problem with comprehension. Now she's not regularly satisfied in the marriage. And on top of all that, you're saying he can't get that deep either? I don't know. It sounds like you're trying to say he's one fry short of a Happy Meal, forgot to pay his brain bill, or like he has more dollars than cents. I think she likes him because he's nice, fun, and is thrilled when his almond joy is in her sugar bowl. But I think she believes she's on a different level than him intellectually. I don't know how they can overcome that. Kevin asked son of a Mitch, "Why in the hell do you tell a woman you're not attracted to her?" Get him, Kevin. Son of a Mitch said, "I f***ed up. I made a mistake and unfortunately it set a tone for the rest of our marriage." Krysten said, "I never believed he wasn't attracted to me. I'm no Jessica Biel, but I'm attractive. I think he saw someone dressier with a little more makeup on than what he would have liked and freaked out because I wasn't the beachy girl he thought he was getting." I don't know, Krysten. Son of a Mitch wasn't nodding his head in agreement with your statement like you do when he's talking. In every other circumstance, we've heard Krysten and some of the cast talk about how son of a Mitch is blatantly honest almost to a fault. However, with something as big as lack of attraction and something that's so hard to say out loud, she thinks he wasn't telling the truth? I think he meant it. Then they talked about an incident that they called Hobbygate, and they showed a never-before-seen clip of Krysten and son of a Mitch where he asked her if she had any hobbies. And so she immediately got irritated. "Do you think I don't have any hobbies?" "I don't know." "That's triggering. I don't like it when men say women don't have hobbies." "Do you see me doing anything? Is cooking a hobby?" "Yes." "Is walking a dog a hobby?" "Yes." "Is reading a hobby?" "Yes." "Is playing sports a hobby?" "Yes." "Do I have a hobby?" "Okay, yes, okay." Is this a real thing? There's some underground of men who think women don't have hobbies? Even if there is, who cares? I will never lose sleep because a group of male non-hobby believers think I don't have a hobby. Like, why is this even a conversation? So she admitted that she was harboring some other feelings there. "I felt like he truly didn't want to be married and he didn't see the catch that I am. Yet you worked your butt off for him to accept you and to make this marriage work. Plus, you wanted to leave the door open just in case he changed his mind and wanted you in the future. For whatever reason, you really wanted to keep that man, miss. He didn't see me for the catch that I am." So Kevin asked son of a Mitch if it was true what Krysten said, that he really didn't want to be married. And son of a Mitch really couldn't answer the question. He just kind of hemmed and hawed a little bit. I think what he really wanted to say was, yes, I wanted to be married, but not to Krysten. So Kevin asked Krysten, "What was your breaking point that made you finally say enough is enough?" "When he had that conversation with my sister." She was referring to son of a Mitch telling her sister that he would prefer Krysten to wear less makeup, which led to Poolgate. So Krysten said after Poolgate, they took a couple of days off from each other, then met up again at the retreat, and she had a really great time with son of a Mitch. So Kevin also asked Krysten if son of a Mitch would have said yes on decision day, if she would have said yes. She said no, because she wants someone who values her for who she is and doesn't wish she was someone else. Now, in this segment, I felt like Krysten was trying to take her power back, like the power she gave away to Son of a Mitch during the entire season, because her answers at the reunion don't match her words and actions during the season or decision day. The reunion, she was all about knowing her worth and pushing Son of a Mitch aside because he didn't appreciate what a catch she is. But on decision day, she was hopeful by leaving the door open and behaving as though she was looking for him to give her some nugget of hope to hang on to. That wasn't the empowerment moment that she's trying to build it up to be now. At the end of the day, Son of a Mitch just wasn't into her from day one. He grew to have love for her and tolerate her to get through the season, but he never seemed to be on just solid ground when it came to their compatibility. Kevin asked Ben, "Do you think Weeping Willow did you dirty by putting you on speakerphone?" And Ben said yes. Kevin said because it may not have become the issue it became if he had just kept it in the inner circle. Caddy was nodding her head and said, "Oh yeah, absolutely." I just wonder how Alexis and Weeping Willow feel knowing that their lack of confidentiality contributed to another couple's divorce. But Ben has his fair share of fault too for trusting someone he barely knows with this sensitive information. So Kevin asked Caddy, "Do you regret not pausing for just a second to figure things out and give it another chance?" Honestly, no, but I do kind of regret ending things early. Okay, so that's a yes then. If you regret ending things early, then you would have given it more time, aka given Ben another chance. Like, I don't understand your answer. So Kevin said, after you all decided to end it, Caddy seemed really angry and Ben just wanted to get the hell out of there. Have you guys talked about things since the breakup? So Ben said about a month later, he reached out to her, asked her out to brunch, then apologized for everything. And she said it made her feel amazing because it was the only thing she wanted was the apology. And Kevin was like, he apologized to you like 77,000 times on the show. Thank you, Kevin. He gave some good heartfelt apologies and did it on national TV. Caddy said, he was just regurgitating what people were telling him to say. I want to know that you felt the pain that I went through. It was huge for him to come on his own and give me that apology. She keeps saying that she wanted him to feel her pain, not acknowledge it, but feel it. That sounds like someone who's capable of putting the pet bunny rabbit in boiling water to me. Now do you feel my pain? She gave the update that she moved from San Diego, put her stuff in storage, and has plans to travel to Europe and other places for a while. And she's been on some dates, but nothing serious. Ben changed jobs and is a project manager now and is going to stay away from dating until he heals from his childhood. Once again, no one talked about how Caddy's level of anger didn't seem to fit the crime. Either they need to fill us in and let us know the type of things Ben was saying was like super horrendous, or they should hold her feet to the fire. Kevin said, you all have consummated your marriage much earlier, maybe on the honeymoon. Is that true? Ha! That's the producers digging up that dirt again. Get it, y'all. So Weeping Willow said, yes, we did. And Alexis corrected him. We tried. We dabbled in some adult things. Weeping Willow was like, I penetrated. We had sex the first night of the honeymoon and the third night. We orgasmed. And Alexis turned up her face looking like, we didn't. Well, it sounded like you did. I did. So did Alexis fake an orgasm, or does he think it only takes a couple of strokes for a woman to have one? If she did fake it, it's easy to sit back and criticize her for doing that. But I get it. This person is her husband and a stranger. She didn't want to risk breaking his ego or esteem 2 days into their marriage, which could ruin things like Son of a Mitch did. So she gave him a couple of moans of encouragement. But then she made up for faking it later by putting him on blast for having a weak thrust, finishing too fast, and not taking care of her needs. So there's that. Meanwhile, he's kind of trying to make it seem like he's putting it down in the bedroom, though. So Alexis said, if that's the story he wants to tell, I'm fine with it. Then he asked me not to say anything, so I protected my husband and I didn't say anything. So she was trying to fall on her victim sword of having to keep this secret for him, but he called her out on it. He said, "You lied too. You lied with me." She turned up her mouth again and was like, "Damn, I guess I did, huh?" So he said that she also lied about her confessional. She would come back and tell him that she didn't say anything negative about him, like she had his back. But then when he watched the show, he saw that she was throwing some shade. Kevin asked if they're together now. Weeping Willow said no, and it was him who broke it off. Meanwhile, we all saw Alexis do it on camera the day after decision day, so I didn't understand that statement. I mean, between the high school cheerleader fight he had with Nate and this, it felt like Weeping Willow was on a lying spree. Alexis said she didn't feel free, and she's a free spirit, and she felt like she was losing herself, so that's why she broke it off, and they tried to become friends. And so he says, "Friends don't call each other drunk," saying, and then Alexis is like looking at him like, "What?" And Weeping Willow said, "She puts up this front, and I can't deal with a liar. I allowed you to gaslight me for the longest. You were always trying to manipulate the truth. You came on to me back in my apartment after the club." "I never came on to you." "You are a compulsive liar." So this is a whole mess. Weeping Willow was firing shots all over the place, like shots fired, pow, pow. And Alexis was denying every shot. Was he making up stories, or was she embarrassed by him spilling her tea, so she denied it? But Weeping Willow has lost some credibility because he thought Nate was coming on to him too with his compliments. So their segment is going to be continued on part 2 of the reunion. I hope we can get some clarity of what really went down between these two after decision day. I will see you in that video. Bye for now.